What's up, everybody? 11:11. What's up, sharp tonguers? We're here in the studio. Dying Laughing is around the corner as we round up and round off our days here at Sharp Tongue. It's been quite a journey. Today's going to be a fun episode. Right off the bat, I want to say that I'm frustrated with when you park in the city and there's time left on your meter. I don't know if anyone else has noticed this. I think it's a scam. The producer and my assistant say I'm a crazy hoe. But I think that when you park at a meter and there's time left on the meter and you put money in, the city just takes the time right back. They take those 37 minutes, they put it in their pocket, and they start at zero. Confirm or deny? Has anyone else experienced this? Because when I pulled up today to the studio, there was time left. There was plenty of time. I had time to do 2 episodes. I had to put my money in. Then it's right down to zero. And I says, well, where did all that time go? It's like life. You're like, where did the time go? Time flies on parking meters more than it does in life. So I'm wondering, where is all the money going? Where have all the cowboys gone? You guys remember that? Who was that singer? Was it Tori Amos? No, Tori Amos was the one who was breastfeeding pigs. Where have all the cowboys gone? That was, I'm just going to Google it because I have a laptop right in front of me. My brain will explode if I can't figure this out. Where? And that's a good question. Paula Cole, where have all the cowboys gone? I'm worried about a lot of extinct creatures in this world, in this life. And I feel like cowboys are one of them. Maybe it's from watching Yellowstone. Hello, Rip Wheeler. Oh, gosh. Can't mention that show without screaming about Rip Wheeler and how well they hid that ginger beard. Rip Wheeler, Cole Hauser. He had a ginger beard. Go and he does Yellowstone. Ginger beard's gone. No more ginger beard. Where did it go? We don't know. It went with the cowboys. But when you watch Yellowstone and they start making you worried that the cowboy supply is low. Is there a low cowboy supply? I feel like we really need to worry then. You know, I feel like that's a sign that things are really starting to fall apart when the cowboys are gone. Because then AI takes over and the next thing we know, we're on the set of Terminator. And we knew it was coming. We just didn't realize it was going to arrive so soon. So while the world's burning around us, I just want somebody to look into the meter thing and see if I'm being scammed at these parking meters. Has anyone else noticed this? I also saw something wild on the way to the Met. I was driving down the highway. Actually, it was the side streets. I'd gotten off the highway because there's homeless people everywhere. I also wondered when I was speaking about homeless people, is there going to become a time where we really just can't say the word homeless? And we think that that is, in fact, helping the situation at all? Because there are situations and instances now where there are words we can't say. The word, if you use it in a sentence, obviously, save for a couple words we should never use towards certain people. There are some words that we're saying we shouldn't use that are like, really? And if you use those words, it will stop someone mid-sentence. So I'm wondering if homeless is going to become that. Because I had that reaction when I said it last week and someone goes, oh, I don't think we're supposed to use that word anymore. I'm like, homeless? What do you mean? It's the most basic. It's literally just descriptive. It's just a fact. You know, I'm going to start calling my friends homeless because none of them own a home. Most people in LA are homeless. Let's be real. Most people in the country are homeless. And we're not even talking about the ones who live in the tents. Some of them might even have it better off. A lot of the people who live in the streets don't want to live in a house or 4 walls and a roof. They're fine in the Patagonia tent. You know, my assistant and I were walking last night in Venice. We saw a guy setting up his house. We saw this man with a pole and we thought he was just the most ambitious pole vaulter ever. Like, what's this guy doing with the skinny pole? Then we realized, oh, he's setting up shop. This man sets up and breaks down his house every day, or he got shifted from one homeless encampment to another. Sometimes they scurry them, and the city calls that handling the situation. But while I was driving here on my way, I saw this unhoused human. I say that through gritting teeth because any way you cut it, you're still not helping the issue. So you can call them whatever you want to call it. And if that makes you feel like you're helping the homeless situation, well, good for you, Brittany. Good for you. I'm glad you created a new word, because there's, in the time that it took for council and everybody on local government to decide what the word was, 30 more thousand people became homeless. So I don't know what we should do. But this homeless man was walking on the street and he was throwing rocks, like softball-sized rocks, at everyone. At a woman walking down the street, he was throwing them into traffic. And I honestly was worried that my car was going to get hit by this homeless man throwing rocks. And I thought to myself, well, you're not supposed to throw rocks at glass houses, but when you live in a tent, maybe that doesn't apply. Maybe you can throw rocks all the time, and that's a loophole in the system. Maybe that's a reason to become homeless, so that you can throw rocks at glass houses. I don't know. Who am I to say? Who am I to judge? I'm just a regular person. I'm a regular person who's on the road. So come see me live. I'm going to be in a bunch of places, a bunch of different places. Coming up at the end of February, I'm going to Poland with the USO. I'm very excited about that. I was in Poland. I was going to say I've never been to Poland, but I went to Poland 2018, a part of that holiday USO tour that I did for Christmas. And it was beyond cold. I don't know what I was thinking spending a week there now. I don't have shins for Poland. When it comes to Poland, you need to have a certain type of shin. My shin, it looks like the stem of a flower. So I might die, and I'm okay with it. I'm not, but I'm going to have to just accept the fact that I may die from shin frostbite in Poland. So I hope the military appreciates it. It's going to be a great time. Is my zipper up? Yes, my zipper is up. I'll be in Poland the end of February. Shout out to all the military men and women who are out there that I'm going to go check in on and have a good time with. I will be at the KC Comedy Club March 14th and 15th. I also will be in Maryland, Annapolis, Maryland, Rams Head on stage in Annapolis, Maryland, one night, March 22nd. I have a bunch of other dates coming up. I will be at the Moon Tower Comedy Festival in Austin, Texas, and a bunch of other dates. You can check my website, jessimae.com/tour. Don't forget, however you support me, a portion of that goes towards the Alzheimer's Association and Hilarity for Charity. Both amazing foundations helping those struggling with the disease and the families that are caretaking those ones that are struggling with Alzheimer's and various forms of dementia. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe the YouTube page. We are going to have a bunch of fun guests coming up this year. We're going to be having a more focused conversation and bringing some light to grief, all forms of grief. That's what Dying Laughing is going to be. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really proud of what we've evolved this podcast into, and I can't wait to bring you guys different episodes. So that'll be coming up. But for now, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It helps me out a ton, helps me grow, helps me be able to be in places like this and bring you more content. And I thank you ahead of time for everybody who listens. Anyways, I wanted to know if anyone has ever had an issue when you're at the gym or anywhere in life where there's someone who you don't know, a complete stranger, who's so close to you that you can feel their breath on your neck. And have you ever dealt with that in a certain way? You know, because feeling breath on your neck that's not yours. I'm someone who doesn't get angry about really much. But when I feel hot breath on my neck, that's not coming from someone who I'm, going to let see my chi-chi, it causes me real rage. And so there was this guy at the gym, and I got on the elevator. And the elevator is a place where I feel like everybody just gets awkward right out the gate. People don't know what to do on an elevator. Even now, after all these years, elevators have been around. We still got to get on the elevator, and it's like, do I talk to you? You get on, you're like, you do that face where you got to nod. How are you? You got to say, how are you? Oh, the weather. You go through all those bullshit niceties, small talk, regurgitated sentences that we use. We really don't want to say. We're just doing it because we're all awkward. How you doing? Yeah. How about that sports game, the Super Bowl? Did you watch the Super Bowl? Kendrick Lamar, huh? They're not like us, are they? None of them are like us. Do we need to say anything to anyone? Why do we even need to say anything to anyone? And by the way, every time I get in an elevator, I say something to somebody. I'm that person that's like, my aunt had 4 ferrets. Can you believe that? And when the elevator doors open, the person's just like Blair Witch Project staring in the corner, hoping that I get off. It's their floor, but they tell me to leave. And I'm like, okay, I guess we're not going to hang out on Sunday. Do you want to do brunch? It's just an awkward place to be. But this time I was on the elevator, got on the elevator at the gym. It's not like the gym has an elevator in it. It's outside of the gym. And this man was on the elevator and I stood off to the side and he kind of got closer to me and breathed on my neck. And I thought, this is where I die. This is how I go out. This is, that show The Last of Us? This is the last of me. Why? And I shouldn't know that you had an everything bagel for breakfast. Shouldn't know that. Why is that information in my mind? Why are you so close to me? Didn't anyone in your life tell you that this isn't okay? It's a big question I have. Makes me think of that lady we talked about, that French woman who I'll never get over, spending $600,000 and getting scammed by those horrifically photoshopped Brad Pitt photos. No one told her? There wasn't one person in her life that was like, hey, Marge, maybe not. Maybe we don't talk to someone on the internet. Maybe we never give money to a man ever. Why are we doing that? Let the man be the man. I'm all about the traditional role. Let me scam you. You know what I mean? Like, let me let you scam me is all I'm trying to say. Like, that's the real equality. Let's start to flip the script. I have a niece, as many of you know. I'm an aunt. I don't want to brag, but I am an aunt. I'm a pretty great aunt. Pretty quintessential, pretty traditional in the sense that I bring a lot of swear words to the table. I'm very proud of it. I feel like it's a rite of passage for a child to learn the reality of life through the aunt, however you call it. And I'm going to step into that role. I don't have shoes on, but I'm going to step right into the role. For all of you who probably try to screen grab that, you foot freaks. And for those of you who are foot freaks and didn't think about it, and I just gave you the idea, well, I should have put my foot in my mouth. And then if I would have done that, you would have screen grabbed that, and we'd be right back where we are. So my niece FaceTimes me 1,000 times a day. She's a stalker. She's certifiable. She's already a stage 5 clinger. Given I am the coolest person she knows, stage 5 clinger. She has single white female energy written all over her, and I worry for her future. She's adorable. She's an absolute demon. And I can't wait to have this as a documentation of that now, solidified in this time, and have it as like a time capsule so that when she's of age, I can show it to her. Meaning probably in a couple weeks when I go home, look what I said to the world about you. I'm out here spitting facts. She calls me a bunch. Okay, I don't know if I told you guys about the time that she called me and scammed me with a voice on my FaceTime. I don't think I mentioned this yet, but I was driving and my niece was trying to FaceTime me. And you can't FaceTime in a car. It's one of those safety features. And so I pick up the phone and it goes, hi. And I thought it was her because the only person who FaceTimes me for my sister's phone is either my sister or my niece. So I was like, hi. And she goes, I miss you. And I said, oh, I miss you too. And I was like, what's going on? She's like, I want to play. And I said, oh, I know, you always want to play. And at this point, I should have known that it was a scam because I know my niece. I know her voice. It wasn't her voice at all. By the way, isn't how she talks. She's been like, kids these days, they call you and then they put the phone down and go do makeup. Like she does better makeup than I do. But I'm going along with it because I'm so effing gullible. She's like, I want to play. And I said, oh, honey. Oh, I'm just like, oh, she loves me so much. My niece is calling me and she wants to play, which isn't that far-fetched. She says, I want to play. I said, I know you do. I want to play too. She says, do you want to play with me? And I said, heck yeah, I want to play with you for sure. And she said, well, I'm with you now. And I said, oh, that's so sweet. And she goes, I'm right behind you. And I said, what? The fuck did you just say to me? The fuck? Where the fuck are you? Where the fuck did you say you are? She's like, I'm with you right now. And I said, bitch, no, you're not. You better stop. Scared the fuck out of me. It honestly terrified me because I realized I was talking to a doll. It was like a doll's voice. And I hung up the phone. I was so scared. Driving in my car in sunny Los Angeles, listening to this voice, thinking I honestly, for a split second, and this is who I am as an individual, for all of you out there listening, if anyone's like this as an adult, I'll admit it. For a split second, I actually thought that, that the spirit of some demon doll had made its way onto my FaceTime audio and had in fact somehow sent itself telepathically to the back seat of my Chevy. And I looked in the back seat, hung up the phone. It proceeded to call me back like automatically. She called me back. I hung it up. By the second I hung it up, it was calling me back again. And I hung it up and it was calling me back again because I think it was one of these automated phone scams that you can send to people's phones. And because I had cut it off, I think it just automatically was calling me back. But I was for sure thinking that the spirit of the demon doll had gotten into my cell phone. And I had like a mere panic attack. So to that I say, use birth control, truly. Because that was just really unnecessary. And also made me realize I have some work to do with my fear and anxiety. And then I called her later on. She's 7, mind you, okay? I called her later on to just really accuse her violently of causing me PTSD. And I call her and I go, what was that? And she goes, oh, wait, let me call you back in 20 minutes. I said, and she hung up. And I'm like, what? First of all, how do you even know that increment of time? How do you even know like 20 minutes is a thing? Who knows? I don't even have that concept of time right now as life is. Let's be real. A lot of us are like, what day is it every single day? And the weekend rolls around and we work all weekend because we don't realize that we're not in the middle of the week. And here's a 7-year-old girl with such a busy schedule. She's got to call me back in 20 minutes. By the way, never called me back. Never called me back. Was so busy with whatever activity she had going on that she didn't call me back. And how do you even know that increment of time? How are you 7 and understand 20 minutes? I have to figure out a scam to scam her back. So if anybody has an idea, please let me know. Because I really, really, truly would love to scam her back. Well, speaking of scams, I went to a show last night that was presented and hosted, well, not hosted, but produced by Ben Glebe. It was Ben Glebe, myself, and Brad Williams. A little bit of comedy. No little person, pun intended, but for sure. And Ben Glebe said it was a fundraiser for the fires. And, I'm all about doing things and giving back. Let me go back into our text messages. You guys tell me if I got scammed. Okay. He asked me, are you by chance in town next Thursday? I'm doing a benefit for the fires in Venice, a small membership club. Would you want to do a set? I said, it sounds fun. Is everyone going pro bono? A girl's got to know what's going on. Is there any cheddar for mom? He said, this one's pro bono, and that's fine. I'm all for doing some pro bono work for the greater good. And I said, let me see what I got going on. Let me see when I land, because I had to fly. He goes, any luck checking your flight schedule? We're hoping to lock the line up today. I says, I think I can make it work if you can get some firefighters to the show. Look, if I'm not going to get paid, I need some form of reimbursement. I need a compensation. I'm a professional. Can I at least have a little eye candy at the show? Let a girl, give me a 12-month calendar lineup. Is that too much to ask? I know they're around. We know they need some relief. I don't know if the fires are still burning. That 24-hour news cycle is a bitch. We've moved on. We've moved on to other things. He says, you're an angel. We'll get some calendar fighters there if I can. Okay? And so I shows up. And I got to tell you, no firefighters. Not one firefighter. I wore the most flammable outfit I own. We're talking Chinese cotton. You know how they used to put that flame retardant chemical on clothes, especially babies' clothes? I had the opposite of that on this outfit. If you buy anything from Shein, it is the opposite of flame retardant. It's highly flammable. There could be, you could stand in the sun behind someone's sunglasses, and that beam of light going through those cheap CVS sunglasses will hit that Chinese cotton, and you will combust like a vampire stepping out into the sun. And a girl can dream. I was out here hoping for a small brush fire in my Chinese Shein cotton. It's so flammable, and it doesn't breathe, by the way. So I don't know how that works. But I was just hoping I'd catch on fire and there'd be some firefighter there. And, everyone's just sitting, but I'm going to get all the attention because I'm on fire. This girl is on fire. No firefighters, no fires. It was a fun show. It really was a fun show. Cute venue. It's always interesting when you're in LA or any place and you go inside these beautiful buildings and they do a lot of charity work. And this place is gorgeous. A lot of art. They do a lot of charity work. And I said to them, there's a lot of space in here. Why don't you guys just move the homeless people in here? They didn't like it. It wasn't a judgment. It just was an idea. It was just an observant suggestion. It was very high ceilings. I said you could build those those beds from Squid Games. And then they can all hang out. And it's so big they could even do a small methy fire in the middle of there. I don't know. We're spitballing. I'm out here trying to fix things in the world and in society. Speaking of things in the world and society, there's a lot going on. Debbie D sent me some news. Let's see what we got cracking. First, one of my favorite news stories that I've ever heard of. Escaped emu? I think it's emu. Never in the history of letters and words have there been so few letters and so much confusion for me. There's 3 letters. How do you pronounce it? Emu? And escaped, I think it's emu. But that comes out of my mouth and I'm not confident. Escaped emu runs wild on highway in Snyder County. This is insane. It's not insane so much about the emu and because that it's an emu. It's an emu or emu? Emoo? I'll never know how to pronounce this word. Snyder County, Pennsylvania. Nothing has ever made me want to move to Pennsylvania more in my life. I just came back from there, not Snyder County, but Fort Indiantown Gap with the USO. Had I known that there were a possibility of street emus running around, I don't think I would have left. Isn't there a sport where you can ride on the back of these suckers? This would be a great way for This would be a great way for Brad Williams to get around traffic in LA. Would you love to see Brad Williams pass by your car on a fucking emu? Wouldn't that be the greatest? That'd be just a great visual. Video captures the bird being chased by several individuals near Weaver's Bakery. This all sounds like the beginning of a Hallmark movie. The woman who took the video said the emu was eventually caught Saturday morning and back with its owner. Something tells me that a bird like that doesn't escape as much as it leaves. It's kind of like a cat. Like this emu, I don't know how to say it. I'm going to go with emu, even though I don't know which one it is. This emu, see, every time I say it, I'm not confident in it. He left. birds like this, he left the house. He wasn't like accidentally escaped. He purposefully left. Kind of like cats. Like, it's not lost. They left your house. They're looking for a different life. But the thing about this is that this emu, they say that the video captures the bird being chased by several individuals. These aren't just any individuals. It's a pack of Amish people. So there's these women in like traditional Amish garb, the bonnets, the bibs, the dresses. They even have like that fluffy stuff underneath the dress. And all of them, it's like the Amish mafia are surrounding this emu. And I have never seen such a wild scene in my life. This is so funny to see. And honestly, I wonder if the emu was theirs. And who knows, were they doing some sort of traditional Amish stuff and the emu wanted to get the hell away? We don't know. We're never going to know. But that emu got returned to its owner, and I would like to talk to the owner about getting a ride on it, because I've seen a lot of white people get on the back of those, like white people often do. We like to get on the back of weird animals and ride them at zoos, and I'm no different. Here's a different story. Kim Kardashian sued. I'm not on death row. You got the wrong guy. This is absolutely insane. Kim Kardashian's being dragged to court over a social media screw up. She's being sued by a guy mistakenly identified as a death row inmate. So apparently, in a new lawsuit obtained by TMZ, Kim's being sued by Ivan Cantu, a project manager from New York, who Kim identified as a man awaiting death row penalty in a Texas prison cell. Kim posted a photo of the wrong Ivan Cantu on her social media when she was trying to bring awareness to the case of an inmate by the same name. And Ivan says the mix-up subjected him to public embarrassment, shame, hatred, ridicule, disgrace, contempt, and aversion. I can understand that, because we know how quickly things take fire. You post a photo of a guy, call him a pedophile, regardless of if he's a pedophile or not, everyone's going to assume he's a pedophile. There's always going to be a percentage of people that are like, yeah, he definitely touches kids. You're going to taint an image. You're tainting the image even in the accidental accusation. Ivan's suing Kim for libel and slander over the mix-up. He says she caused him to suffer serious emotional damage. Emotional damage, as my nephew Elliot would say. He says, I'm not getting executed. Some idiot who runs Kim Kardashian used my picture instead of Ivan Abner Cantu. So there's an actual Ivan Cantu who's on death row. And the other Ivan who's not on death row looks like a nice guy. The one who is on death row looks like a guy who's waiting death row. He says Kim's post made him lose sleep, get headaches, have nightmares, and experience PTSD. She said he hurt his reputation and made him need medical care and emotional counseling. Damn. But it's like, are you surprised? This is what happens when you have girls who make lipstick for a living get into criminal and criminology. Is she a lawyer? And here's me like trying to speak like I know, and I didn't even look into what Kim's doing. So I'm basically doing the same thing, but because it's Kim Kardashian, I feel like it's okay. But maybe we should do a little due diligence. I feel like that's a legal term that she could look up and possibly make sure that you're not posting someone's LinkedIn profile. You want to be for sure that it's someone awaiting death row and not some guy that is, trying to sell houses in Beverly Hills. Ivan blasted Kim at the time, saying some idiot who runs her social media accounts used his picture instead of death row inmate Ivan Abner Cantu. The inmate was executed on schedule, by the way. Too bad that the inmate didn't benefit from this and a little delayed action. The Skims founder took down the post in question, but Ivan says the damage was already done because she has hundreds of millions of followers and he's going after her for money. For sure, that's got to be worth at least $1 million. At least $1 million. She could shed $1 million. By the way, with all that money, Google's free, but with all that money, don't you have like a better research team? It's only me and Deb and we handle it. We seem to get it done right. Deb, you're going to have to do some real research. Make sure whatever I say isn't accusing someone who's, I check in on that emu thing. Can you do a little deep dive on that for me? Make sure I'm not going to fuck up the reputation of that flightless bird. I feel like they can fly a little bit. Birds who say they're flightless, it's like, are you flightless or are you just being a punk right now? Let's see what else we got going on here. We got Uber with Guns app launches in LA. What? I want to move. I want to move to a place where where you imagine Sam Elliott lives. I imagine Sam Elliott just in a cabin in a sweet little crevasse of Alaska, just in a nice basin of a mountain overlooking a crystal lake. There's bear there, but there's a beautiful symbiotic relationship in nature. And all you hear is the babbling shore and the rocks and the cold Alaskan water going over the rocks. And you might hear a off in the distance. You come to LA and there's homeless men grabbing their junk, yelling about Tyrone, throwing rocks at you. You're getting scammed by parking meters. And now Uber with guns? When a liberal city like LA starts inviting guns into the chat, we're screwed. We're screwed. Unless this is like some sort of terminology for chicks with dicks, and I'm here for that. Is this just like a terminology? Is this just like a little, euphemism, as they say? Like if my Uber came stacked with a transgender person pre-op and they were tough and they were in there going to fight for my honor, I'd feel safe. But if it's a real gun, I don't feel safe. If you've ever found yourself in a situation where you needed an armed bodyguard complete with a private motorcade to escort you to Los Angeles, there's now a new app for that. What regular person needs that? I might actually need to book one of these just for the experience of it. There's no way I'm taking a Waymo, but this might be something that I might need to try. I'll just send Chaplin in it. I will just send my dog, my toothless Chihuahua in one of these. Protector, which launched Tuesday in LA and New York City, gives users on-demand access to armed ex-military and law enforcement to chauffeur them around town, making the process of hiring elite security professionals as easy as booking a ride through a rideshare app. Most people cannot pay their rent. Most of us are broke. A lot of us are losing health care. A lot of us can't afford health care. A lot of us don't have womb rights. And this feels like grooming. I hate to be a conspiracy theorist, but this feels like some real dictatorial, I don't know if that's a word, dictatorship grooming. This feels like the end of times. Book private security. The Protector app allows users to browse, book, and manage private security services directly from their mobile devices. I don't know that we need private security services publicly available. I feel like that's something we should just leave to people who are government officials and Vin Diesel. Maybe the way we can sort of find a common ground is we can all get a Pope mobile. Maybe that's the most we deserve. I don't know about an armored vehicle. The app features a roster of elite security professionals, including active or inactive veteran law enforcement, military, and special forces experts. This is creepy. If this is real, this is creepy and I don't like it. I can see Tim Dillon taking this to work, back and forth to work just for fun, for sure. These professionals bring their frontline expertise to users, ensuring a high level of protection from what? It feels like they're preparing us to need to feel protected. This is Los Angeles. You got to be able to walk out in the streets in your flip-flops and know that you might get injured and be okay with that. Do you know how many homeless men have come running up to me with their ding-dong hanging out? And I still don't want a armored vehicle. This feels really freaking freaky. Here's how it works. The app touts easy mobile booking 24 hours in advance with the same-day option coming soon. Look, people who need this type of security, tend to have an idea of when they need it. I don't think it's like, hey, tomorrow I might get shot, so I'm going to need an armored vehicle. By the way, you're just going to Erawan? Are you taking this? Where are we going in this? A Dodgers game? Are we honestly going to go check out the Santa Monica boardwalk with this sucker? Standard service includes a protector and a black car starting at $100 an hour with a 5-hour minimum. You may pick how many cars you need and even the choice of how your protector blends in. Uniform includes business, formal, casual, or assless chaps. I added that last part. A tactical premium experience. I don't know about this, man. This is really freaky. And I know Deb snuck this in there because she knew I'd get freaked out by this. The demand, okay, so the founder, Nikita Baer. I don't like her name. Her name sounds like a character from a Bond movie. Founder of TBH and Gas added, the demand for elite experience security has never been higher. Is it? For who? For who, Nikita? For people named Nikita, maybe. It sounds like you can do air splits and have Japanese assassins after you. I'm Jessimae. I'm really going to rent one of these and go to Ross Dress for Less. Who am I kidding? I'm honestly going to take one of these bad boys and go to Marshall's and be like, I need to, look, we're here. I'm here for the Maxinista, the Max for the Min. And I'm going to take my mirror, my lamp, and all of my dog blankets home in this armored vehicle. Protector's now available on iOS. For more information about Protector and its services, visit timdillon.com. It's ridiculous. I can't believe this is even a thing that we're doing. The world is wild. We're all losing our mind. But I think we've been losing our mind for a while. I think we've always lost our mind and everything just feels more in our face because of our phones. The more we put our phones down, I've said this over and over, the better we are. I think that the craziness exists in the digital ether and not in the real world. But that's just me being hopeful because the fact that we can now rent armored cars tells a different story. It's a sign of a different time. I will say that, even though that there's a lot of craziness in the world, we still were gifted last night with an overheard. We haven't done an overheard in a long time. And this one was outside of the venue where I was stripped and robbed of my opportunity to perform for firefighters. Now I'm going to need a benefit show for the emotional damage that I was caused to endure to perform for just white people in Venice. And, it's not enough. We have to do better. We had an overheard. A guy walked up out of nowhere. Could have been homeless. Could have just been a regular guy. It's hard to tell. And he walked right up to his friend and said, I want to open a food truck with Texan barbecue. And then he said, I drink sweet tea, bro. And he was flexing. He was flexing with his sweet tea. And he went on to say how you make the sweet tea. He said you got to make the tea hot and then you add ice and then you pour out some of the tea and then you add more tea and a little bit more ice. He had it all figured out. But the fact that he came over so strong with, I drink sweet tea, bro. Back up, buddy. Back up. You sound like you might need to rent an armored vehicle to go pick up that sweet tea, buddy. Because the world's exploding around us. Everything's exploding and we're going to have to find a way to deal with it. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to that sweet, sweet town in Pennsylvania. I'm going to knock on the Amish barn door and see if that emu is there. I'm going to throw a saddle on that baby and we're going to ride ourselves into the sunset. We're going to ride ourselves into the sunset. That's the way we're going to do it. You've got to find some joy. You've got to find joy in life, people. We talk about it all the time. The world may feel like it's exploding, but you got to be able to separate yourself from the chaos. Get your toes in the sand. Get your toes in the grass. Maybe draw a little saltwater bath. If you don't have like fancy salt water, use that shit with iodine that you have in your kitchen. Sprinkle a little and stick your feet in a little hot bath. You deserve it. The world's wild. Keep your heart wild. Keep yourself true. Thank you guys for listening. Hope to see you on the road. I love ya. See you next week. Bye.